Good morning and welcome to EXSIN Live. As you see, Phil and I are in our work clothes today because we're in the process of moving that studio behind us from there to over there. And we're updating some things around here, but we're working with clients today and doing studio stuff and painting and doing all those things that happen as a business owner.
It's actually fun, the painting part.
Well, except for your knee. Your knee's
Well,
not good
yeah.
yet, so.
Me.
But this is the funny thing. And I had a conversation with my friend from England this morning about how being a business owner is hard.
Yep.
Right. There's the times you have to put on work clothes and do work you didn't expect to do, and there's times that you have to do things that aren't in the list of things in your ideal business ownership thing. But it's part of growing your business and moving forward, right, Phil?
It is, and I think now we could have somebody do it. We actually enjoy doing that kind of stuff. So I think there's a part of us that likes the. I mean, yesterday we had the music on. Although you did say, there's a potential problem. We're listening to 70s love songs. So two dudes in a room painting together.
So Phil's either attracted to me or he's a serial killer. Were my two thoughts. So
anyway, but yeah, you're going to do all kinds of things as a entrepreneur, a small business owner. My dad always told me, you're not better than any job, and so whatever needs to be done, you get in, you do it. And go down the road. But yeah, you get asked to do a lot of things.
You're no better than anyone that you work with. Yep. And that's important. You got to be willing to demonstrate how things should be done, even if it's picking up trash in the yard. Yep. And so it's important. So today we're going to have an interview style thing with Phil. We're going to talk about things we're seeing and challenges for next year, and maybe some things you need to do
when you do this.
Well, but it's stuff you love.
But there's no script. I don't know what you're going to ask me. What if I get something wrong?
You can't get these questions wrong. I did that for you. So I'm going to start with the first one because let's all be honest. If you're not measuring cost or revenue per employee, you need to start. Yeah. And who makes all the revenue for a company? What makes sales makes revenue? Yep. So the first question, Phil, is one of your favorite ones. And my question is this: what is the biggest challenge you see in sales teams across the gamut of companies we work with?
The biggest challenge, I think it's an understanding that people still buy from people. Yeah. I think there's this huge push to where the profession of sales is really kind of under attack because everybody thinks you can automate the sales process completely. Using tools, whether it's marketing tools or sales tools to generate leads, they're just that. They're tools. People still buy from people they know, like, and trust. That will never change. I don't care who you are. There's still going to become a point where there has to be an exchange of human beings communicating with each other and human beings working through problems. Now, can you buy stuff retail on? Sure. But they're still going to buy a brand they know, like, and trust. So they're still buying something that they know, like, and trust. If you're selling cars, you're going to buy cars typically from somebody you know, like, and trust. If you're buying a house, know, like, trust. Insurance, know, like, trust. It doesn't matter what we're selling. Know, like, trust. So I think we're losing the ability or the biggest challenge is that salespeople are forgetting that first and foremost, it's about relationships and it's about creating opportunities to build those relationships with prospective clients.
Yeah. So one of the things we've talked about, and I want to add this thing is important, is you say it's a lot to our clients, and it's a lot of sales team are tracking, or managers are tracking gross revenue, gross sales, which is a goal. We get it. But the way you drive gross sales is through consistent activity. And your comment is, if you do the activity on a consistent basis, you will see the sales.
Yeah. I mean, you manage activity and you expect the results. The results meaning increased revenue. And when I say manage the activity, I'm not just talking about number of calls. I'm talking about, as a sales professional, manage your activity, manage your day-to-day stuff you're doing to further the cause for you. If you manage that stuff because you control that 100%, then you can expect the outcome, expect the results. Manage the activity, expect the results, which is increased revenue. Works every time.
So the next one, and this is more my lane, but I think you'll like picking on me on this one. Are most companies that we work with, do you see them with a consistent set of repeatable process across all levels of the organization?
Before or after we work with them?
Before.
I mean, no. I mean, because people will listen to even like the stuff I just said. Hey, listen, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Manage the activity, the results will come. And they think, well, that's a process. That's not a process. Okay. I mean, there's a lot more to it. So yeah, very few have a true professional process they're following for their business development teams. Usually it's a hodgepodge of something they learned along the way in their previous life, or they went to a workshop, or they listened to a podcast. And that's all good stuff to do, and you can get great information there, but it's not a process or a system. You've got to really put some time, effort, and effort into creating a process.
Well, and there's companies that we work with that have the processes,
sure,
but they're struggling to get their team to buy in or follow the process, and that's another piece of it. Having a process and not having the team buy into it and use it is another challenge for companies, and that's part of the leadership piece. Is the team has to have ownership in that process, right? Yep. If the team members aren't part of developing that process and don't buy in, then you as a leader got to figure out, how do I make that happen without destroying the team?
And that's really the key point.
That's the art.
That's the art. And I think everybody knows the process makes sense. But to your point, too many times we see companies that say, here's your process. Learn it, memorize it. These are your goals. Memorize them. Know it. This is what you're going to be doing every day. Memorize it. Know it. And a human being that's sitting there that's creative, that wants to do cool things, that wants to really create something, they're going, well, this sucks. I get no input in how my life works, how I go about approaching my daily activities. I get no input in that. Yeah, that's right. Because we see that a lot. Here's what you have to do. Good luck.
Now, on Phil and I's defense, we're very good at giving a manual going, here's how you fly a plane, read it, figure it out.
Yeah.
But there's a but to that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of training and one-on-one that goes there, and there's a lot of allowing the individual to adapt to their skill sets, right?
Right.
And then adjust the technique along the way. And I think you can understand the business is that everybody is different.
Everybody's different.
Everybody receives information differently.
Yep.
So if you have a process book, realize that you need to have a conversation and you need to listen. We have clients that yesterday we had one that I was banging my head against because I just couldn't get through. And Phil handled it very adeptly, very skillfully, because he's really good at dealing with tough characters. Well, he had 37 of them in his house growing up. So his experience.
Well, and I'm a carrier myself.
You watch what your dad did. But it's important to understand that if you can't figure out how to get the team to get on board, then you need to find somebody that can help communicate with your team, with you, to help you get to where you want to be as the owner or the manager of that division.
And I think this is a key thing, and I say this all the time. Do you want to be right as the owner, or do you want things to be right? I say this all the time. If you watch our live, I say this all the time. This isn't about you as the owner, as a human being. It's about doing the right thing for the entity that you birthed, for the entity that you created. With the help from a lot of people, you created this, right? So use common sense. I mean, one of the things I tell people, they'll say, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. Usually talking about sales managers.
Yep.
And there's a difference between a sales manager and a sales leader. Okay. But sales managers, they just want to pound on things. I'm like, well, how's that working for you? Well, it's not. Right. And it's never going to work for you. You've got 1988. I love 1988. It's one of my favorite years ever in my life. It's over.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for that.
Oh, yeah, a lot of reasons. But it's over. It's over. Okay? We don't get to stand at the room and dictate to people. We don't get to stand at the room and pound on a desk and demand. That does not work.
But Phil, it worked in '88. I don't get it.
Well, in '88, we were on robots. We're like, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
We've been spanked into submission, right?
Yeah. That's exactly right. We've been beaten into compliance.
Into submission.
Right.
Look, and Phil brings, and we joke about that, but you got to realize society from the beginning of time till now, things have changed.
Oh, wow.
And we have, as old people, second halfers, we have to have the intestinal fortitude to communicate in a different way and to motivate in a different way. If you think the way that you were motivated when you're 18 is going to work on 18-year-olds today, you're probably out of touch.
Well, if you're to put it in perspective, Dave and I's generation, and if somebody that was older than I that I respected, whether it was a coach, a teacher, an uncle, obviously parents, if they said, now listen, we need you to run off this bridge over here.
Yes, sir.
And it's exactly right. You just take off running.
Okay.
I'm not saying it was smart. I'm saying that's how a generation of people were. We were just going to listen. We were going to do what we were told. And and that's not how the world is now. And in many ways, thank God, that's not how the world is. Now, there's parts of that I miss, I yearn for, but not the running off the bridge blindly. So what David and I are saying is to build a really good process, you got to include your team.
Yep.
It can't just be the dictatorship of, okay, I went through all the trouble to put together our company mission and vision statement. I did it for you. Now learn this, believe it.
And they're not going to forward. I mean, the funniest part about all of what we're talking about right now is in 1950, Cousy and Poster said the same darn thing. We haven't learned our lesson yet.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not new stuff.
80
folks.
Years later.
Yeah, I mean, it's not new stuff. So we need to catch up and realize what works. Here's the next question. What percentage of companies do you think have set their goals for 2023 yet?
Oh, very small. I mean,
5%, 10%?
5, 10. They're all talking about it, or the majority, I should say, are talking about it, going, we should really sit down and do some of that goal setting stuff. We should really take a look at this. We should do this. We should do that. But they're not really doing it. And it's because I think, they've been told somewhere along the way they need to do it. They've maybe even done it before in their previous life. They know that's probably a healthy thing.
We have a strategic plan someplace.
Yeah, someplace. Blow the dust off of it. But a very, very low number. And it's something that when done correctly can really change the trajectory of your organization and of your employees' individual careers. It could really have a huge impact.
So you have 24 days before next year starts, 24 days. Yep. Christmas is coming. I know our clients, we're sitting down with them over the next 2 weeks to get their goal setting done, the ones that are fired up about it. I would encourage you to take a day with your team and set goals for each section. We're going to improve processing by X% in accounting and finance. We're going to reduce accounts receivables, et cetera. We're going to increase revenue, gross sales by X with this profit margin. And we're going to increase revenue per employee by this. Really simple, smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound goals to set you up for next year. Because if you don't set your goals and don't have a plan to start next year, you're already behind come January 1st.
Yeah, you're way behind. And they've got to be written down. They've got to be all the things Dave talked about. People will.
And your team needs to have personal goals that align with that. And you need to talk to your team about what are your personal goals for next year.
Yeah, personal goals and your professional goals don't align. It's not going to work.
So the homework for everybody listening is you need your team one personal goal for their whether it's weight loss or family stuff or bucket list stuff, and then 3 business goals for their job that they want to accomplish in the next year. Right. And then you need to take all those goals and look at your business goals and see how they align and build your business goals around those personal goals. So everybody's on board.
Yeah.
So
the rope in the same direction.
So Phil, if you were to build goals, annual goals, and you did have a plan, what is the best way to ensure success throughout the year of reaching those goals you've set?
Well, obviously we're big practitioners of periodization and looking at the year annualized goals in periods or quarters, and then reducing that down to weekly activities and tactics. all build around those goals that you've identified. And we've been practitioners of that for a long, long time. It works. Every client we've ever implemented it with, it works. The challenge is getting people to, and not just periodization, but anything, getting them to stick to anything beyond, because what's getting ready to happen? New Year's Eve.
Everybody's fired up.
Everybody's going to be in shape. So you go to your gym. You can't get on a machine because everybody's going to become bodybuilders. And you just got to wait 2 to 3 weeks, and it'll be okay. It'll be back to normal. But it's because we give up on our goals. And why is that? Because we don't have tactics. We don't have a clear vision. We don't have a plan. We don't have a process.
We're not holding ourselves accountable.
We're not holding us. And what's another word for accountability? Ownership. We don't have ownership in it. So even if you've made your own goals, if you don't really believe them in here, you're not going to do them. I mean, I can on the surface say, I am going to do 18-hour fast. I'm going to drink water and green tea, and I'm going to eat, and I'm going to do all these things. And then guess what happens? The 11 o'clock moves to 12:30. The 12:30 moves, and then I'm like, well, shoot, I'm hungry.
We're in Cowtown. We got
to go to Cattleman's. Well, I ordered water, and then Dave's Diet Coke showed up. And I went, damn, Coke sounds good. You know what? Bring me a Coke. And that's what happens.
You're blaming me for ordering a Coke?
No. It's 100% I'm a grown-ass man. That's my fault. But my point is that you've got to really believe them. They've got to be important to you. I mean, they have to be important to you. If it's not something that's important to you, you're not going to do it. You're not. You're lying to yourself.
And if you don't weekly look at your activity, manage your activity to reach your goals, whether it's sales, weight loss, whatever it is, manage your activity to get the results, you're not going to get there. You're just not. So let's get serious about next year. The next 3 episodes of EXSIN, we're going to talk about getting in line. We may show some tools we have to you and go more in depth, because I know one of our good friends said, let's get more in depth in processes on what we have out there for you guys.
Yep.
But look, we're getting ready to step into a great year. It's a time to start fresh. It's time to look at lessons learned from this year, because the world is changing, and do better next year. It's a clean slate.
Clean slate. Every day is a fresh start. I mean, you can wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? I'm going to start eating better. I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to start committing myself to my profession, my family, my children, my grandchildren, my spouse, whatever. You can do that anytime. Doesn't have to be January 1st. You can do that anytime.
Their rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield for a reason.
That's right.
You need to be looking forward.
That's right.
So with that, EXSIN Live, Dave and Phil, we are out of here.